This is Grimm Grinner on all channels.
Creepy blindfolds with crossed-out eyes painted on them.
Kind people of the jury.
It's time for him to face his judgment. Welcome to the Wastes.
Alright, I'm just passing marker 34, trying to follow the route Grimm was taking. Any other teams spot anything? Any sign at all that anyone's been through here? Damn it! Keep looking. Fan out. Look for some trace of him. Looks like there's a couple different trails heading up from the gas station. Leopard, take the liquor box crew to the northwest. I'll take southwest with Roaster and the others. Keep alert. We don't know who could be out there. Shit, looks like creeps beat us here. I'm seeing all sorts of jury bodies around, but no corpse. Must have been an elite squad. Roaster, what about your... Wait! Can you hear that? He's out there somewhere. Spread out, look for anything that might have an antenna on it. He's gotta be close.
Is there anyone there? Seriously, CJ, I'm fine. It's nothing more than a bump on the head, a few bruised ribs, and some scrapes and bruises. Nanny Bear gave me the all clear days ago, so you don't need to fuss. Besides, Levy needs your help setting up the relays out near the liquor box. Just gonna do some short broadcasts, and then check in with the Roaster on the tech we let him take from that safe house. I'll be fine. Oh, shit. I didn't realize I was already transmitting. Well, Wastelanders, hopefully that glimpse behind the curtain wasn't too shocking for any of you. I mean, at this point in the game, I feel like it wouldn't really be. Anyways, good afternoon. This is Grimm Grinner. Finally back home at the network, broadcasting on most channels, and for good reason. So, as I'm sure a fair amount of you are all aware, I'm in recovery right now from a recent attempt on my life out in the wastes. And for once, it wasn't the corporations making the play. No. This time, I made the mistake for falling into a trap set by some members of the jury. I had picked up a small distress signal that I decided to check out. And before anyone out there calls me out for this idiotic mistake, especially after everything with Praxis, this sounded like a sincere call for help. I mean, it was just a small transmission left on loop to try and lure people in. Hit to the head later, and I'm in a metal box waiting for the judge to arrive. At least, that's what I was able to make out before things went all sorts of sideways. I honestly didn't know what was going on at first. I heard shots all around my would-be tomb, and someone or something must have dislodged the lock, or whatever was keeping the lid shut. I was able to get out, get my hands on a rusted machete and a small 6-shooter with only a few bullets in it. Started trying to figure out how I was going to get out of the ruins they had me in. By this point, I could make out the sounds of corporate weapons, which was just icing on a really shitty cake. I took the nearest route I could see, figuring that if the jury was busy fending off the creeps, the other paths out would be a good choice. I mean, go away from the gunshots. That's when things got interesting, and why I'm not broadcasting on all channels today. I don't want to blow the cover of the creep that actually helped me get out and get to safety until CJ and the Roaster were able to pick me up. I know what you're all thinking. Should have just dusted the creep and run. But something felt different. I mean, they had me dead to rights. I had a rusty machete and a small handgun, and they were geared up to take on an army. But I rounded that corner, and they didn't seem to have any intention of using their weapons on anyone other than the cultists swarming the place. Ultimately, it was actually the token they handed me that made me stop and hear them out. For anyone not in the know, Praxis had a sort of his own underground web of contacts, with people from all over the Wastes as part of it. If he trusted you as part of his own version of the network. He gave you a token to symbolize it. Bounty hunters, mercs, farmers, soldiers, hell, apparently even creeps. It's all very hush-hush, to the point where even the people that had one of these tokens didn't know who else he had given one to. Only anyone with a token knows what it means, so it's really hard to forge or fake your way into that inner circle. And if you're scavenging the body of someone who had one, you wouldn't notice it as anything of note. So, the fact that I had this creep flashing one told me everything I needed to know. They helped me get out of there, which included getting to take a quick shot at them, and set me on a discreet path to a nearby safe house I could hide out in. I was able to make my way there fairly easily, even without my gear. Which, as an aside, a huge thanks to Roaster's right-hand skitters for grabbing my stuff as they went through the ruins. After I made it to the safe house, I set the transmitter to be open just to receive signals and not give away where I was. I recovered some strength, and tried to patch up some of the scrapes I had, scrounged around looking for food that wasn't corporate manufactured. Luckily, there was some stuff that I'm pretty sure they confiscated from a raid that I was able to eat while I waited. I also discovered their slate document with what channels they were patching into on a regular basis to try and track me. I got the signal from the creep to let me know that it was safe on their end after a few hours, and got some rest. I think it was the next morning that I heard that oh-so-familiar voice cutting through some of the dead air, and started sending out my own small signal burst to get CJ's attention. Once I knew it was her and some friends, I helped lead them to me, and we made tracks to get me properly fixed up at the med bay. Well, of course, after pulling out some of the tech and supplies from the safe house. Skitters and CJ were able to recode the door, so hopefully it can be a new safe house out there for the network. We have been back in Burblack for a few days now, and Mender was able to get my personal transmitting equipment repaired after the damage it took, so I should be good for transmitting on supply runs again once I'm back out on the road. And for all the gearheads out there who are worried about my bike, luckily the jury didn't really care about it, so it was left at the station where CJ was able to retrieve it and get it hooked onto the atomic maple until we got back. So that means Mender doesn't need to go calling in any favors for any scrap to repair or make a new one just yet. Before I sign off and go grab myself a drink, I just have one thing to say to the judge. Better luck next time. You need to make sure to come get me yourself instead of sending your lackeys to get mowed down by the corporations. One-on-one, we'll see how things turn out. This has been Grimm Grinner, broadcasting out of the network. See you in the wastes.
Welcome to The Wastes is a Wasteland podcast brought to you by Edward Grimm Grinner Hutchinson. Feel free to follow me on all social media. Make sure to subscribe so you can hear new episodes as they're released.
All members of the jury, return to the courthouse. You will all face judgment at my hand for this failure. You let my dear Grimm Grinner escape, and I will have vengeance.
If you like what I do here and want to support the podcast by getting some cool merch, check out my Etsy store. For more information and all the links, check out linktree.com/welcome to the wastes. Thanks for listening.